Hello and welcome to the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League live tonight from Brands Hatch here in the UK. My name is Adam Baker and I'll be your commentator here tonight on V-Speed. We do thank you for joining us for tonight's event. This is the season finale of the summer series for these drivers in their GT4 machines. Should be a fun one here at this 2.3 mile track with 9 turns. And we do have the usual format of two 20-minute sessions. The drivers still in the qualifying session, getting prepared to set themselves up for both the heat and the feature race tonight. Should be a lot of fun and looking forward to some exciting racing as we have seen all season long. Looks like the weather could be interesting tonight. We've got cloudy skies, maybe some pending rain. We've seen a few times so far here throughout this season. Should be a very entertaining night of racing, as it is each and every week with these drivers. We do want to give a big shout out to the sponsors of this league, Gunfire Games. You can check them out in the video description, along with Duncan Racing Designs. They've been sponsoring all of this summer series, as well as headed into the fall season. Going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. That'll be right back here on the channel. Looking forward to that one in the GT3 machines. So going to be moving up a class. And these guys in the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter like to change it up. So maybe we'll see some new race formats as well. But this dual race session format has been very entertaining throughout the season. As we take a look at the analysis for tonight, you can see on the left side of your screen the qualifying positions at the moment. And it is currently Clint Fletcher, who is looking for 4 wins in a row. He's currently the fastest man here once again. And that is going to be interesting to see if he can indeed go for 4 wins in a row. Good to see all of these drivers make it out here tonight. Short field, but never short on action amongst this league. Let's take a look at the points and the championship championship status as we enter into tonight's event. Brian Kennedy still atop the standings. Dean Tulien 22 points back. Mike Nickham 41. Matt Gazenda. Everybody is going to be out of reach except for, I believe, Dean Tulien, and it's going to take a very good qualifying effort here, and it does not appear that if he does not out-qualify Brian Kennedy in qualifying and then go on to win both sessions, and Brian Kennedy finishes last in both, I think Brian has it essentially locked up here. Again, to note, multi-time winners this season, Matthew Gazenda, a 2-time winner, as well as Clint Fletcher, who's won the last 4 feature events. He's looking to cap things off here with his 5th in a row and end the season on a high note. He is charged up through the top 10 in the points, ultimately coming up a bit short here, missing a few races early on in the season, but no doubt if he had made it to all of the events, would definitely be a very interesting battle for that championship. And let's go trackside now to see the drivers qualifying and maybe follow along with a couple of them as they wrap up here with just 49 seconds left. See who's still on the track. Aaron Dietrich, good to see him back, as he is on track right now. We'll go ahead and put up the track map and see where he is at. You can see him coming through what is turn number 9 here in just a second, back towards the start-finish line. Lap times in the 1:29 second bracket, 1:29 to 1:30s. And Aaron Dietrich this time not going to be able to improve his position, currently 4th fastest. And it looks like we won't have enough time to go all the way around with him. But we'll get a chance to ride on board, I think, here in a few moments with some of these drivers as qualifying has come to an end. And we're going to be headed towards the beginning of our race session here tonight from Brands Hatch. Starting in front tonight in terms of qualifying time, again, it's Clint Fletcher, the fastest man here at Brands Hatch, the number 69 machine. He will get sent to the back based on the invert. That is how they work here. Top 12 drivers go to the invert, which tonight only being 8 drivers on track. Everybody is going to get inverted between qualifying and the heat race and the feature session. So Brian Kennedy, second fastest. Looks like he should be able to cap off the championship here, and we'll see if he can challenge for a win tonight. It would be his first win of the season, and what a way that would be to close out the championship. Rolling off in front of them, but behind them in qualifying, Harley Lewis and Aaron Dietrich, the 2 BMW machines. Dean Tulien and Matthew Gazenda, 5th and 6th fastest in the qualifying session. Mike Nickum, 7th. Colin Kortnick, 8th fastest here tonight. I do want to thank you for joining us for the season finale, the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League. Make sure to cheer on your favorite drivers in chat. Let us know you're out there, who you're rooting for, and who do you think is going to win this heat session. Is it going to be Clint Fletcher all the way from the back in the McLaren machine? Or is it going to be someone else? Starting up front, it'll be Colin Kortnick and Mike Nickum. And we will see if they can hang on to it here. They both started towards the front last week in the heat races. And Colin Kortnick going to be on the inside lane. He'll get the green flag, and we're off and away for the season finale. Good, clean start, but no, there goes Kortnick around. Your race leader gonna lose control at the bottom of the hill. And he's gonna go all the way to the tail end of the field, so that did not last very long for Colin Kortnick. Let's take a look at the replay. Just lost the back end of that Porsche machine. Able to keep it out of everyone else's way. And gets it back rolling, but going to be a big loss of time and track position for the 32. Up at the front, Matthew Gazenda has taken over the top position in his Gunfire Games machine. Mike Nickum still in second place, and then we've got 3 identical BMWs all fighting 3rd, 4th, and 5th. You can see Clint Fletcher just behind them. He's actually in the McLaren tonight, a different look for him. And he's looking to go to driver's right through the final turn and try and make the move there on the 270 of Aaron Dietrich. You see Brian Kennedy just behind them in his Porsche, often a little bit slower at the starts, but finds his pace and consistency as the race goes on. You see him climb through the field. And that's why he's atop the point standings coming into tonight's race, looking for the championship. In the Summer Series, as the 270 right there in front of him gets a big slide at the top of the hill. A very interesting racetrack here at Brands Hatch. See if we can maybe go on board with Clint Fletcher as he makes a lap around, currently running in that 5th position, up 3 spots already in just a couple of minutes. He drives the McLaren machine. We haven't seen too many drivers in McLarens. I think this may be a new addition as well, this particular McLaren, as he is running right behind Harley Lewis and Dean Tulien. Those blue BMWs running in 4th or 3rd and 4th. And Matthew Gazenda out to about a 2-second lead as he comes by to complete lap number 2. And Mike Nickham hanging on back there. Looking at lap times, a 1:30.65 for the 52. Fastest car on track. That's going to be the 69 of Clint Fletcher, 3.3 seconds behind, so has a bit of ground to make up. And as he runs in behind these three cars, it's just going to get to be a bigger and bigger hurdle to overcome. Mike Nickham, as he's done in a few of the recent races, did a good job defensively holding everyone off, but it looks like Dean Tooling gonna have a big head of steam. They're gonna go side by side. The back straightaway. Still side by side, but now it's Nickham and Lewis, and Mike Nickham going to be able to slot in line in third place. Good battling here. Second through fifth. Some of these tracks really tighten up, and you can see there Mike Nickham off the preferred groove. He's going to lose a lot of ground and now falls back into fifth place. Move Clint Fletcher up and Harley Lewis up a position. A very fun racetrack. This is one that, you know, I remember racing at all the way back in Grid in the early days. I think they may have had this in Gran Turismo 4 or 5, not exactly sure which one. But lots of great memories racing around here at this track, and these guys having a good time so far, looking pretty good. The only incident being Colin Kortnick spinning from the lead there on lap 1. Brian Kennedy goes a bit wide. But everybody pretty well single filed out. The pressure is now on Harley Lewis, though, as you take a look out the back window. It is all McLaren. It is all Clint Fletcher trying to find his way past that gap up to Matthew Gazenda, continuing to grow. Now Dean Tooling into second, but the margin 3.1 seconds. Matthew Gazenda putting down some really great laps. Last time by was the quickest car. Aaron Dietrich picked up the pace. He's run the second fastest lap of the event in the 270. So obviously found some pace there after making an early mistake. As they work back through turn number 9, Matthew Gazenda is already going down into turn number 1, the Paddock Hill Bend. Down Hellwoods Hill through the Druids, and going to come back around the hairpin up or down Graham Hill. Those are the names of the turns here at Brands Hatch. Still battle here for third. Harley Lewis and Clint Fletcher. This one won't give up. They fight for those spots. Really, it's second, third, and fourth, all under a blanket. Then you got to go another 2 seconds back to Mike Nickham, who's starting to feel the pressure from Brian Kennedy and Aaron Dietrich. Everybody using every inch of the racetrack as well. You can see a little bit of a tire slip from Clint Fletcher as he follows very closely in the tire tracks of Harley Lewis. But everybody very smooth and consistent in this league so far. As the 84 goes well off, though, that could be an opportunity for the two drivers behind, and it will be, as Clint Fletcher and Harley Lewis both slip on past. Dean Tooling going to drop to the 4th spot and off of the podium. Now the battles emerge further back. Mike Nickham, Brian Kennedy, Aaron Dietrich, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Colin Kortnick well behind the rest of the drivers. Everyone's still on the lead lap. 8 minutes into this one as we begin lap number 6. And look at Brian Kennedy trying to use all of that curb. And his Porsche, this being a little bit more nimble than the big AMG Mercedes in front of him, but maybe not quite the horsepower. You can see backing up the turn entry, trying to get a good run off, using a lot of the runoff area. And look at this, might be able to even make a dive down to get drivers left. And that will force a mistake. Mike Nickum overshoots the turn. He's going to get off into the sand just a little bit. And that'll cost him 2 positions. That one mistake. Really good racing so far in this one. Good clean racing. Only small mistakes costing drivers time and track position. Now the lead margin, Harley Lewis trails Matthew Gazenda by 3.8 seconds. And Clint Fletcher, who's been aggressive in previous races, especially in these heat events, not pushing the issue just yet, but you can see he is just shadowing the 4. As Gazenda flies on by, could be a battle into turn number 1. Clint Fletcher goes with a very wide entry, but not able to really get much of a run. He's going to continue to try and work in the outside groove, trying to find some way around. As those two battle, you can see the 4-car pack further back, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, all fighting. And I think Harley Lewis may be feeling that pressure from Clint Fletcher, and may have lost a little bit more time. That margin now up to 4.4 seconds. As they head through Hawthorns, now through Westfield, and back towards Sheen Curve, turn number 7. So a lot of right-hand corners. They'll make a left-hand here back through Sterling's. Got a little bit of banking to it. You can see as they dip down through there, keep the pace up. Matthew Gazenda off in the distance, still pushing his car. And I think we were about to have a battle for position. Clint Fletcher trying to get some type of run out of turn number 9. And just not able to get alongside, but using the draft. You can hear a little lift there, waiting for that moment. Not going to take a shot at it here in turn 1. Looking back a little bit further, Brian Kennedy has gotten up to the 5th position as he made it around Mike Nickum and Aaron Dietrich, but a lot of these cars very close in speed. It's all about pushing it just a little bit too hard with less than half of this race to go. Who's going to make a mistake? Push the car a little bit too wide. We've seen mistakes happen late in events in the latter half of this season. But man, I just can't take my eyes off of this second place battle. Clint Fletcher has just been a car length or less behind this whole time, and Harley Lewis is handling the pressure. That McLaren looks pretty sporty out here, though. They're gonna have about 6 laps left when they come back around. Matthew Gazenda, he has done an amazing job so far. He's led 7 of the 8 laps that have been, actually rather, he is gonna have led every single lap so far after starting in 3rd. You can hear his tires screeching through some of these turns. He is really pushing that BMW, and he has had some really good pace as battle for position further back. Aaron Dietrich made a mistake early. He's actually making the pass on Brian Kennedy, your championship leader, who's going to go a little bit off course as he tries to leave some room for the 270. And nothing really on the line here for Brian, as he is the championship leader coming into this one. But just trying to keep the car clean, and could actually benefit from the invert being back here in 6th. That would cause him to start 3rd in the feature race. I don't know how much that strategy goes into how they run these races, course, you want to get as many points as possible, so it's to your benefit to finish as high as possible in each of the 2 races, as battle for second continues. About 4.1 seconds behind Matthew Gazenda. Off of turn number 9 once again here, down the Brabham straight. Man, Clint Fletcher, he is right there, almost able to bump draft down into turn 1, which would not be super beneficial for either of these drivers to do that. Under the bridge, they are making up a little bit of time on the 52 in doing this, but I think if Clint Fletcher is able to get on by, he could actually have a shot at chasing down Gazenda. Take a look back here in fourth, the 2 blue BMWs, Dean Tulien and Aaron Dietrich, in front of the Porsche of Brian Kennedy. Hopefully you're enjoying tonight's race. This is the season finale. We will be off next week. I believe the following week is when we start the fall season, so just a 1-week break, not going to be too bad. As Matthew Gazenda continuing to show the way, 3.9 seconds out in front, and we're under the 5-minute mark. You can see second place fiercely contested. And this could come down to the final few corners. Clint Fletcher going to have to start making some aggressive moves, as Brian Kennedy's had a problem. He's pulled it down pit lane. Not exactly sure what happened, if he has some damage or what exactly, but he's pulled it in, possibly an issue with the amount of fuel that he started with, and he is off and away. So short stop. Not exactly sure what happened right there. But it is Matthew Gazenda out in front still, leading lap after lap after lap. And how about Harley Lewis? He's actually created a little bit of a gap here back to Clint Fletcher. So a little bit of breathing room for the moment. But Aaron Dietrich and Dean Tulien, they've now started up this nose-to-tail battle. And Aaron Dietrich, he's going to take a look down driver's right as the 2 BMWs go side by side through turn number 6. And he is going to complete that pass. Up to 4th goes Aaron Dietrich. Great start for him tonight. Qualified, I believe what would be 4th fastest. Started in 5th because of the invert, and now back up into 4th place, but he lost a few positions early on. So that battle concludes for the moment. We'll see what kind of lap times he's able to run when he's now in clean air. Going to be a big difference for him instead of trailing a car that closely, just like Clint Fletcher here. He's so close to the 4, it could actually be costing him time, but Matthew Gazenda starting to slip up a little bit. That gap down to 2.6 seconds. He did not have a good set of laps. And the 4 car over a second faster on the previous time around, and they'll have 2 laps to go next time. If things continue as they are, it could be very close at the end of this one. Still watching this battle. It is just non-stop. Harley Lewis doing everything he can. Sees that leader getting closer. He also sees the car behind him at all times. Almost like that rain cloud constantly over your head. There is constant pressure from the 69. Clint Fletcher, he's trying to do it cleanly though, and that's something you got to respect him for. He's made passes throughout this season that have ended in disaster for both him and other drivers. Regardless of speed, it's about that racecraft, and you can see over the progression of the season, he's gotten a bit better at that. And always fast week in and week out. It's about keeping that car on the racetrack and keeping yourself out of trouble, ultimately, to have any shot at the win as they continue to make inroads here. They'll be coming back to the white flag as Matthew Gazenda, seeing his at one point nearly 5-second lead slip away, now back to 1.5 seconds. Not sure if that's just a tire wear issue or if he had a couple of penalties, but he is losing time hand over fist, trying to keep the car out in front. Again, he's led every single lap of this race after Colin Kortnick lost the lead due to his spin on the opening circuit. White flag is going to be shown here. Final lap for Matthew Gazenda. Can he get the sprint heat race win? Oh, as the 4 big power slide down into the turn, that's going to cost him a little bit of momentum. Still about 1 second back. That equates to about 10 car lengths. And wow, they have really closed up. Look at Clint Fletcher. He's trying to push that car that much further and slipped it off the racetrack, but able to get it back rolling and still not lose a whole lot of time. Is Matthew Gazenda going to feel that pressure here the last few corners of this race? Might be just enough margin that even if he burned all his stuff up, he's still going to be able to hang on to it. Now the gap under 3/4 of a second. Going to have just a few more turns to survive. The gap now nearly 0.6 of a second. It's going to end up being only a handful of car lengths if it continues like this. But I think they are just going to run out of time. 0.7 now again for Harley Lewis. A really big dive down into turn number 9. Not going to be close enough. It's going to be Matthew Gazenda taking the heat race win in a battle towards the line. It'll be Harley Lewis by just under 1/10 over Clint Fletcher, and they'll pile in here as is the tradition. Further back, Dean Tulane, Mike Nickum, Ron Kortnick, Brian Kennedy, and Aaron Dietrich. Also, good run for him. He finishes in 4th. As you'll see the finishing order there over on the right side of your, or on the left side of your screen. You'll see some destroyed race cars piling in here on the right side. So lots of fun to watch these guys. As always, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the feature event.
From the starting line to the finish line, and everything in between, Duncan Racing Designs is here to supply you with the livery you didn't know you needed. Let DRD help you look good so you can drive fast. Contact Duncan Racing Designs on Instagram, Trading Paints, or via email. This season of the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League is brought to you by Gunfire Games, developers of the hit game Remnant 2, now available for PC, PS5, and Xbox. For more information on Remnant 2, visit www.remnantgame.com. And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The Milo gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Swag.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it at Auto Club.
Back at the racetrack now with the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League. Season finale from Brands Hatch Circuit. And it was a very exciting opening event in the heat race. Let's take a look at where your favorite drivers are rolling off here tonight from Brands Hatch in the final event of the summer season. Rolling off from the front row here, it's going to be Brian Kennedy in the number 77 Porsche. Colin Courtnick going to be rolling off alongside him in his Porsche machine. Mike Nickham rolling off from third here tonight. Dean Tooling going to start in the 4th spot. Aaron Dietrich, strong opening race tonight. He's going to start from 5th. Clint Fletcher, 6th. Ollie Lewis going to start from the 7th spot. After holding off Clint Fletcher for a lot of that one, he'll have to start behind the 69, and we'll see if he can follow him through. And Matthew Gazenda, who dominated and led all of the heat race, we'll see what he is able to do coming from the back of the pack. His green flag is out. We're off and away. Battle already on for the race lead. The two Porsches going at it here. Brian Kennedy trying to win the final feature race of the season. You saw he had some good speed in the middle part of the race, and now already getting out to a good advantage over Colin Courtnick. That gap 3/4 of a second and growing here in the first few corners. We'll see if Brian Kennedy can have a nice storybook ending to this season. As Mike Nickham, Dean Tulien, Aaron Dietrich, Clint Fletcher, Harley Lewis, and Matthew Gazenda make up the rest of the field. You can see Clint Fletcher already trying to make some moves here. Goes alongside the 270. Aaron Dietrich not able to get by, but already has completed a pass at some point on Dean Tulien. So right on board with the 270 BMW of Aaron Dietrich, but 57 of Mike Nickham in front of him. As they head back towards turn number 1, looks like Aaron gonna go defensive down into the corner, gonna try to hold off Clint as long as possible. They were the two fastest cars, I would say, in the heat race, but Clint trying to do it the hard way on driver's left. And now he'll have the preferred groove down at the bottom of the hill. Gonna be hard to get through though, and he's gonna go for a slide. That patience we emphasized in race number 1, it is not going to matter here in the feature event at this point. Clint Fletcher getting turned around as he went to complete the pass, came up into the 270, and they get together. He goes through the grass, keeps it off the wall. Let's take another look at that. Just tried to clear himself, and there was not enough room there for that one. So he'll have to come from the back of the field, 7.5 seconds behind. We'll see if he's got speed to make up that kind of a deficit. That also set back the 270 of Aaron Dietrich. Matthew Gazenda and Harley Lewis were battling just for a moment there, and that cost the 4 pretty significantly. He's now going to fall back to the 7th position, and Clint really not that far behind, but he is going to have to be significantly faster than everyone else to have any shot at getting up there and finishing on the podium once again. And getting that 5th win in a row could be a tall task, as Brian Kennedy, your championship leader, coming into tonight. As we pull up those point standings, you can see where the drivers entered into tonight's race. And Brian still looking for the first feature win of the season for him. But what a time it would be to get it here in the season finale. And again, storybook ending that would be. And it's Harley Lewis and Aaron Dietrich. These guys are fiercely battling. And look at this. Clint Fletcher, he's trying to make up all that ground he lost. He goes 3 wide. And he'll complete the pass. Look at 2 of those positions he lost back. And he's actually making up ground on the race leader. 7.3 seconds behind. And racing here so interesting as they do that top 12 invert. And there goes Aaron Dietrich. Pushed it a little too hard. He's in the barrier. Looked really strong tonight and just overstepped it a little bit right there. I'll have to take a look at what happened to him. So yeah, just a little bit too much. Looked like the left side of the car actually hopped up off the ground and ultimately lost control into the guardrail. Unfortunate moment for Aaron, as he will head to the back of the field now with damage. Might have to bring it down pit road. Brian Kennedy, Colin Kortnick at the front of this field, separated by 1.2 seconds. Colin having a good start to this one, right where he fired off in the 2nd spot. Battles to watch are going to be further back here, as Clint Fletcher and Harley Lewis actually putting down really nice lap times. Clint has gained 3/4 of a second on Brian Kennedy since his spin. Harley is doing what he did in race number 1, trying to keep his car in front of the 69. It looks like he is going to accomplish that, at least for the remainder of this lap, as they both slice into the race leader. They were both about a half second quicker, running the fastest laps of the race, and only different by about 1/10 of a second. So these 2 cars have got something to say for a podium finish, as well as potentially a race win. If they can kind of keep up this pace, they might have a shot at it. Gonna have to really put the hammer down, as they say. Dean Tulien and Mike Nickum and Colin Kortnick are all in between them and the 77 of Brian Kennedy, who has lost a bit of time to the 32 machine. Did Colin Kortnick go for the win here? That would be very impressive. The 2 Porsches leading the way by a good gap over Mike Nickum. He's about 3.6 seconds off of Colin Kortnick. No major developments through the last few turns, as Clint Fletcher putting that pressure on. And Harley Lewis defending admirably here. They're continuing to run faster laps. They're still in the 129s, both the 4 and the 69. A 129.72 for Harley Lewis and a 129.56 for Clint Fletcher. Both of these guys running really nice laps. Your race leader, Brian Kennedy, ran a 130.39. So one of his fastest laps of the race, but still about 6/10, 7/10 slower. And look at the big run Harley Lewis is going to have right here. Can he make a move around the outside of Dean Tulane? Not going to be a lot of space to do it. And not going to be able to keep the nose in there. As it's really a lot about momentum and how much speed you can carry through some of these high speed corners. It's really just lift and then get back to the throttle as soon as possible. You can see here Harley a little bit later on the throttle through that one. As they head towards turn number 8. And then they'll bring it around here through turn number 9. And it is once again nose to tail, the 4 and the 69. They did this all of the last race, and I think that's actually to their benefit at the moment. Look at Clint Fletcher, though. He's going to try and make a move down into turn 1. Can he complete the pass? No, Harley Lewis able to hold him off, but does he leave the door open? He's going to try to leave the door open, and Clint Fletcher's going to miss the turn. And he is going to collect Dean Tulane. And that is not how that was intended to go, I think. Let's go overhead again. As he tried to make a move, I think, down into the corner, but went to avoid and then ultimately became a wrecking ball there. See Dean Tulane involved in that one. Let's take a look from his rear view mirror. Just exiting turn number 1 on board here with Dean. And really just out of nowhere, nothing that he could have done. And that is going to be opportunity ender for Clint Fletcher and Dean Tulane as they'll go towards the tail end of the field. Only Aaron Dietrich further back than them. He's about 2 seconds off, so could have a battle amongst those 3. But obviously not the way that they wanted the final race of the season to go. Clint Fletcher, of course, 4-time in a row winner. Seeing his chance to make it 5 in a row slip out of his hands. And under 10 minutes left in this one. Brian Kennedy trying to get that first feature win of the summer season and the championship at the same time. Colin Kortnick in that second spot. Just hanging right there with him. Has not been able to let the 77 get away, as they have both pulled a huge gap over Mike Nickum. That's now 6.3 seconds. Right on board here with Colin, and started in that second spot. He has been just mirroring lap times of Brian Kennedy. Obviously, they're in the same type of race car. Lost a little bit of ground through that one after not getting back to the throttle quite quick enough. But he's within drafting range, so getting a little sniff of that on some of the straightaways on this track. And you got to wonder how much is Brian Kennedy actually saving here. Just trying to keep his tires in good shape for the end of this one in case Colin is able to muster an effort and get up to the back bumper. So they'll come across the stripe one more time to begin lap number 9. Brian Kennedy has led since the start of this one. Top 3 have not changed positions, actually. That could be happening in a moment as Harley Lewis gets a really good run through turn 1. Now here at turn number 2. Not quite able to get alongside. Now into turn number 3. Mike Nickum doing everything he needs to do, as he's done for a lot of this season. Looking pretty strong here in this feature race, but Harley Lewis looking a little bit stronger through that turn. He's going to have the advantage. He should be able to clear they work towards turn number 5. He is going to be able to clear, so move Harley Lewis onto the podium. Mike Nickham falls to 4th. Matthew Gazenda, who won the heat race tonight, he's up to 5th, so good run so far. Could have a shot at a podium, but I believe a win is probably going to be out of the question unless the top 2 get into an incident. Does not seem like it's going to be the case, still separated by about a second. But Fletcher, Dean Tulane, we got together at turn number 2 just a couple of laps ago. Back here 6th and 7th. Aaron Dietrich's actually made quite a bit of ground up on these two. Like I said, could be a 3-car battle here, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Currently all separated by about a second. And Clint maybe just reserved here to hang back and just close things out and run in some smooth laps. The top 2 starting to get a little bit closer together. Colin Kornick had a couple great corners, and now that gap under half a second. He is putting down some really nice corners. And it looks like Brian Kennedy might be struggling just a little bit right here. Missing his marks by a tiny bit, and they are both really pushing their cars. But Colin Kornick ran about his fastest lap of the race. Brian Kennedy a few tenths off of his quickest lap, so maybe the 77 pushed a little bit too hard, too early. This could be where Colin Kornick kind of comes into his own. Let's take a look at the lap times across the stripe. They'll have just a few more laps to go. Yeah, still about 2 tenths quicker is Colin Kornick. And not sure if that's just helped by the draft or if he's saved a little bit and learned a little bit. Brian Kennedy, a little tail slide there on entry. Pushing these cars. Question is, can the 32 make something happen here? Harley Lewis has gotten through to 3rd, and he is actually the fastest car on the racetrack, about 8 tenths of a second per lap faster. It's not going to be enough for him to get there, but he'll get closer. And if these two do get together, he could end up on the top step in victory lane. And so far, Brian Kennedy has held off all the challenges from the 32 of Colin Kornick. Matthew Gazenda is closed in now on Mike Nickham. This could be a battle that develops over the last few laps. It's just a few car lengths separating them. In the Remnant 2 Gunfire Games, BMW trying to cap things off with a really strong run tonight. If he can get up there, he would be likely your biggest mover. Tied with Harley Lewis in this one, and track that seems to be hard to pass at. Such high speed turns. And Colin Kornick, I think, has made a mistake. He's lost control, trying to get it turned back around. That could cost him quite a bit of track position, and it will. We go back and take a look at the replay. Just hit the curb a little bit too much. Car lost all its grip there, and it was a 4-wheel drift for him. Let's go back to the overhead camera, take a look at that one once again. A really high speed turn here, turn number 1. Trying to take that wide arc and carry as much speed as possible, but that car landed off the curb. Just didn't land quite how he expected. And to 4th or 5th place now, actually, is where he's going to end up. Mike Nickham, Matthew Gazenda going to be fighting for that final step of the podium, and how satisfying would it be for Matthew Gazenda, who's had a really strong season with a couple of wins in the feature races. He's now got the heat race win tonight. It could complete dual podium night, he can get up here and make a pass on the 57, but struggling at the moment to do just that. As Brian Kennedy across the line, he's got a huge lead now, 6 seconds nearly over Harley Lewis. And he'll be coming back to the white flag next time around, and that will be a satisfying end to his season to get the feature win. As well as the championship. He's been so consistent week in and week out, very few mistakes overall. And had that lead coming into tonight. And pretty much clinched it with qualifying second fastest. The only driver faster than him in the qualifying and practice session was Clint Fletcher, who was really powering through the field. But ultimately, too many mistakes from the 69 going to cost him here tonight. Brian Kennedy looks like he is going to be able to start up front in this feature race. And he has to just survive one more time around. As Harley Lewis really making some gains on these last couple of laps, but ultimately it's going to be just a little bit too late. And we will keep an eye on this third place battle, which now has 3 cars in it. As Colin Kortnick's starting to reel them back in. Mike Nickham in that AMG Mercedes a little wide through turn number 9. White flag is going to be shown. One more time around. Just 9 more corners in this summer season. Brian Kennedy just needs to cruise it around. Doesn't even have to run a great lap here. Just that consistency tonight and all season long can earn him the championship. Should earn him the win in the battle for third. Just 1 car length between these two. They'll work into turn number 4. Matthew Gazenda is going to have to find some opportunity. He gets a nice run through that turn. It's all happening just about 10.5 seconds behind. Here we go. Could have a shot at it. Going to make a move. No, peeked the nose, driver's right, but not going to be close enough. Trying to force that error from Mike Nickham, but he's forced an error himself. As further up, Brian Kennedy all by himself, 4.9 seconds over Harley Lewis. And then a little bit further back through the woods and up to the top of the hill. The battle is on for the final step of the podium. That's not going to matter for the 77. He's going to come across the stripe, flashing the lights. He'll win tonight's feature race at Brand Hatch, his first win of the season, and clinch the championship. And Harley Lewis, he'll pile it in here, and Brian goes to avoid him. And finishing on the podium, Mike Nickham, Matthew Gazenda right there behind him in 4th. And here comes Colin Kortnick, going to pile it in there as is tradition in this league. Battle could be on here towards the back of the field, but looks like Clint Fletcher is just going to push Dean Tulien across the stripe. And Aaron Dietrich will close things out in the 8th position. What a night of racing here at Brands Hatch. And it was Brian Kennedy taking the win and the championship. Congrats to him. We'll actually see if we can pull in 3rd place tonight. That was Mike Nickham. We'll see if we can get him up into the booth quickly here and just close things out with these guys after the season finale. Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike, sorry to interrupt you there. This is Adam of the VC booth. You got me? Well, Mike, you come home 3rd. You had a lot of pressure there in those final few laps from Matthew Gazenda, who was closing in. But ultimately get a podium here to cap off the season at Brands Hatch. How does it feel, and how do you feel about your season here over the summer? Yeah, Definitely a lot of fun watching you guys battle it out here in the GT4 machines. And we're headed to the GT3s in the fall season after a week off. How do you feel switching up to those cars compared to these GT4s?
Great. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a change in speed and performance and in competitiveness. Hopefully, we get a few more cars back in here as well to go through that fall season. But great run here tonight, Mike, and all season long. Looks like you will end up third in points. So congrats on that. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
I just appreciate these guys putting this on and the sponsors. It's a ton of fun.
Awesome, Mike. Well, congrats again on a great run here tonight at Brands Hatch, closing out the season on the podium and in the race and in the championship. So go celebrate, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks in the GT3s.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. That is third place finisher Mike Nickham. We're going to go now to second place finisher. That is going to be Harley and Lewis. We'll see if we can get him into the booth as well. Hey, Harley, this is Adam in the VC booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Well, man, you come home second here tonight. A really strong night of racing for you. I believe it was second place in both races, but just not quite enough to get up there and fight for the win in either of them. Just describe tonight here at Brands Hatch and the season as a whole being the finale tonight.
Well, that was a really fun race. Could have used a couple more cars on the grid, but there was some great close race in there, side by side. Very hard to pass on this track, but some great drives up at the front. Congrats to Brian. I'm not sure how that'll go for the end of the season championship, but he won that. Congratulations to him. Full season was great. Hopefully we got more cars in the winter. Typically people are busy with regular day-to-day stuff in the summer, so hopefully we do some GT3 and we see a big turnout and we can continue the fun.
Yeah, looking forward to getting a few more guys back on the racetrack, but you did get a win this season, and you already kind of answered my question about switching over to the GT3s, but how do you feel about the performance change in those, and how do you feel about your skill set, going from a GT4 to a GT3?
I find the GT cars to be very difficult to drive. The GT3 even harder than the GT4. It seems like it's very unhappy, or the TC kicks in and goes brrr, and then all your speed is gone and you're getting passed. And if you lose the back end of the car, it doesn't seem like you can collect it. It seems like TC just kills power, won't let you straighten it up. Maybe it's just my poor driving habits, or maybe everyone's suffering that, but it's going to take a lot of practice to figure that car out.
Yeah, and luckily we'll have, I think, 12 or even more weeks than that. I think 14 races actually in the fall season, so a little longer to get that car figured out. But obviously you got a good handle on the GT4s and had a win this season. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to for second place tonight?
Yeah, well, shout out to you. Thanks, Adam, for broadcasting. Scott putting all the sessions up and doing the back end stuff, and then everyone for turning up every week and putting a smile on my face.
Awesome, Harley. Well, great drive here tonight. Fun to watch you battle out there at Brands Hatch, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks in the GT3 machines.
Amazing. Cheers.
Cheers. That is Harley Lewis, second place finisher, who really did an amazing job holding off the 69 of Clint Fletcher. And Brian Kennedy going to pull him in. Actually, let's talk to, we're going to talk to the fourth place finisher here tonight. Let's go to Matthew Gazenda before we go to our champion and race winner. So Matthew Gazenda in the 52 was your heat race winner, and ultimately came home just one spot short of the podium. Let's see if we can get him in here. Hey Matthew, this is Adam in the VC booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good, man. Really exciting race here tonight at Brands Hatch. You took the heat race win and charged through the field, tied for or close to the biggest mover in the feature event. But Just describe, tonight's race as well as this whole season. You got a couple wins and really just a good overall season for you here.
Yeah, it's been fun. I think sticking to the BMW has really helped. Just getting used to that car. Tonight was a lot of fun. I really didn't think I had the pace in qualifying, so I was just trying to like get a good setup that worked in the race. And luckily, just kind of played out at the start where I got ahead, put some laps in. Towards the end, I didn't have quite enough fuel, so towards the end, I was a little nervous about it, so I was slowing up a little bit. But yeah, it was fun. And the second race, it was kind of a little bit more crazy. Everybody was trying to get to the front. I couldn't quite get past Mike. He was just too good on the power of the Merc. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I really have enjoyed concentrating on one car. I love the GT4s in general. They're a great car for getting that racing skill down and just it's a good car to learn with and get better. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we go to the GT3s, which is, step up in power and performance from these GT4s. We've run them here before, in multiple seasons, but how do you feel switching back to that for the fall season?
Yeah, really good. It's, I think I'm going to pick one car, maybe two. I may go to the Mustang. That's my baby there. I just haven't had a lot of time in GT3s in that car, either that or the Porsche, but I think we're all very familiar with those cars now, so the racing should be a lot of fun. Especially with the variables of rain and everything now. So it's going to be a great season.
Yeah, looking forward to it and getting hopefully a few more cars on the racetrack to add to the competition. But even with these small fields, it's been a lot of fun. You got your two wins this season, and gonna have a really good finish in the points as well. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out for the heat race win and this whole season?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Perry with Duncan Designs, doing all the designs for the paint jobs and everybody, including mine. And then a big shout out for Scott for running the league. And it's a great league. I'm really glad to be part of it. So thanks to Scott for taking care of that.
Awesome.
And for you guys for covering us too.
Yeah, of course. And thanks for taking some time here at the end of this season and go celebrate, a really successful season for you, and look forward to catching you on track in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks, man.
Thank you. That is Matthew Gazenda, your fourth place finisher in the feature event and winner of the heat race tonight. Now let's go to your season champion as well as the race winner here from Brands Hatch. That's going to be Mr. Brian Kennedy. Hey, Brian, this is Adam, the VC booth. You get a copy.
Hey, Adam, got a copy.
Yep. Well, what a way to close out a championship season. You were looking for that feature win all season long and able to dominate it here tonight at Brands Hatch. You lead from flag to flag, and really not a better way to cap off a season than that, is there?
Yeah, I mean, except for the reason why I was there, with the reverse grid, I kind of screwed up the first race and I left my qualifying fuel in. So I had to make a pit stop and fuel up to finish the race. So that's how I ended up in pole for the feature race. And but yeah, Colin made it interesting. Like, he had really good pace, and it was like trying to get rid of him. I couldn't shake him. He had great pace until he had that spin late in the race.
Yeah, it was really close. You guys had broken away by a long distance, and it looked like nobody was going to catch you two, and ultimately nobody was going to be able to catch you here tonight at Brands Hatch. But just a really good overall season for you. Consistent. Just describe the rest of the year and the racing that we had, even with some of these short fields.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a fun season. Like you said, we didn't have a high participation rate, but everyone's skill level is really close, and everyone's gotten really good and pretty clean in driving. So I have a great time every week, even though it's a small field, and really thankful for all the guys who come out and drive every week and make it fun.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun to watch from our perspective up here as well. And we go to the GT3s next season, quite a step up in performance from the GT4s. How do you feel about going to those, and you think you can go back to back for the championships?
Well, I'd like to, but what I'd like more is, let's get some new drivers with some great skill in the league, and they hopefully beat me. They'll get better participation and challenge me. So That's what I really want. And yeah, GT3s are going to be awesome. I mean, I typically like a faster car. Just suits my skills or my style better, I guess. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And it's open setup too, which is something we haven't done on the GT3s in a long time. So
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I was not aware of that change. So yeah, that's really gonna shake things up and could open up some new talent who is good on the setup side of things as well. That's really
yeah.
yeah, that should be a lot of fun and definitely a whole different factor thrown into it there. You get the win here though tonight to close things out and just dominating performance in the feature event. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to for the championship as well as the win?
Yeah, well, first, a shout out to Scott for running the NCC league. You know, he's been doing it a while and hasn't got bored with it yet, so definitely appreciate that. And then the sponsors, Duncan Racing Designs and Gunfire Games, and lastly, Adam, great job with all the broadcasts. Really appreciate what V-Speed does.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure as always, and always great moments watching you guys and seeing you battle through the field week in and week out. It's always a pleasure to call the action here. And thanks for taking some time and go celebrate this championship and this race win, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks in the GT3 machines.
You done? Thanks.
Thank you. That is Brian Kennedy, your champion in the summer season, as well as the race winner here from Brands Hatch. Let's take a look at the rest of the results rundown, and we will head on out to cap off this summer season. In your final event, Brian Kennedy leads flag to flag. He takes the championship and the win. Harley Lewis started to charge there at the end. He comes home in second place. Mike Nickham gonna complete the podium with a really strong defense of that third position. Matthew Gazenda able to charge up into the fourth spot and not quite close enough to get onto the podium, but he won the heat race and as a result went to the back of the field for the start of this one. Colin Kortnick, really good drive in this one, just ultimately one major mistake cost him, but still finishes in fifth. Dean Tooling going to come home in sixth. Clint Fletcher, really fast tonight, ultimately finishes in seventh. Not going to be able to get that fifth win in a row. And Aaron Dietrich going to round out the field. Also showed really good speed and pace here tonight. So that's going to do it from Brands Hatch. We do want to thank you so much for joining us here on V-Speed for the season finale. Hope you enjoyed tonight's race. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Check out the season sponsors down in the video description. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the fall season in the GT3 machines and open setup. So that's a big shift, like Brian said. So going to be a very exciting time. Make sure to tune on in then, and we will catch you all in the next one.